What is going on, guys? This is Walk Talk Football, the show where we talk about everything that's on your mind. Today, we are talking the Premier League. We're talking this whole controversy between Cavani and Neymar over penalties. We're talking MLS as well as some other things, so let's walk. All right, guys, first up, we're talking a little bit of Premier League action. After these weekend's fixtures, our Manchester teams favorites to win the EPL this season. Are the Manchester teams? Then you hashtag Manchester is red. I don't know. I think they're clearly the favorites. They're clearly scoring goals in droves. They both spent a ton of money this summer as well. I wouldn't rule Chelsea out quite yet. Tottenham, I don't know. They're on 8 points. The top of the table's 13 right now. Tottenham are so good though. Harry Kane, I think, could probably win Premier League Player of the Year this year. But looking beyond that, I don't really see who else there is. Liverpool, but again, Liverpool had a loss and then a draw, and who just knows, you have one more draw after that and you could fall way out of that title, not way out of the title race, that's a little bit dramatic, but you could fall out of that title race pretty quickly. So I would definitely say that they're the favorites along with Chelsea if they can continue or find their form, I guess, even though they couldn't beat lowly, poor, crap, shit, terrible Arsenal. I can say that because they're Arsenal. Nobody can get mad at me. What do I think of City after those impressive wins this week? Are they the clear favorites? I mean, I kind of already, and could they even win the Champions League? Of course they could win the Champions League, but the argument's always been that the Premier League season is too long. They play through the winter, there's not enough break. I don't really give those excuses because those teams that are spending hundreds of millions every year, they have the depth, and they need to learn how to strategically use that depth throughout the year so that you can get the quality out of the Champions League, the league, and then the cups as well. Play those young players, etc., etc. But I think, like I said before, City are definitely one of the two favorites with Manchester United at the moment, but that could always change. You know, who knows what I can't even say that seriously. Who knows what Arsenal could do this year? No, that's not going to happen. What do I think about Lukaku celebrating after his against his former team? Well, there's a few things to that. Lukaku celebrated because he said that when he was taking a free kick, he was getting booed, and they booed him, so he decided to celebrate after, and he said it was a bit of banter. I also think it's a little bit hard for him because you want to celebrate for your new fans, but you don't want to taunt your old fans. Fans are always going to go crazy, but you can't boo him and then expect him to not celebrate when he scores against you. All in all, it's I don't really know how to address this because I think on one hand, Lukaku has every right to celebrate. He only played a little more than 100 games, which is a lot, but it's not like he spent his whole career at Everton and then celebrated against them. Also, fans are going to boo him, but those fans also don't make up the entire stadium or every fan that always loved him. So it's a little bit tough for him. I'm sure and caught up in the moment, he hears the booing, he scores on the back end of that and wants to celebrate because, you know, no one wants to feel like they're getting booed. But I do think it's a tough position for him. But, you know, it's entertainment, man. Let him celebrate. What else we got here? Do you think Ronald Koeman's crisis meeting with the players will turn Everton's poor start around? They're in the relegation zone. But here's the thing about Everton. They're in the relegation zone, but they've also already played both Manchester teams, so United and City. They played Chelsea and they played Tottenham. Like you can't. What do you expect? What do you expect from them? Yeah, they have a huge budget, and yes, they've spent a lot of money this year, and we've all been excited to see them play, and I think they'll find their form. But a lot of those guys were young players, and they played against the top 5 teams to start the season. So I think they will turn it around, and I don't think there's really a crisis as much as it is the fact that I don't think it's poor form as much as it is the fact that nobody wants to start the season like that. Even the other managers in the league are talking about how hard it's been for Everton because they're in a tough place, being that their schedule is extremely difficult. But they'll turn it around. They'll end up being fine. It just doesn't really put them in maybe the European race for this year or whatever. But they could go on a string of games. It's just, I mean, there's so many good teams in the Premier League that it's a tough start like that just based on their schedule alone makes it hard to come back from. But they'll be fine, guys. Let's relax. What do I think of the PSG PK controversy? Shouldn't Neymar defer to Cavani since he's the veteran on the team? If you guys didn't already know, Neymar and Cavani were fighting over the penalty, and then apparently Dani Alves got involved and he was like handing the ball to Neymar. Look, I think it's the French league. They're gonna score so many goals this year. I know Neymar wants to continue to up his goal rate, but Cavani is the king of that club. He scores year in, year out, had 30+ goals last year, so I think they should leave it to him. And then Neymar can earn his respect or right to take those penalties. Of course, he's Neymar, he doesn't have to earn any sort of respect, but I think you're new in the team. Don't you kind of want to just get people on your side? Don't you want to get them going? I don't know. If you've watched Neymar play, I love Neymar. I think he's one of the best players in the world for sure, and I think he will win a Ballon d'Or. But if you've watched him so far, he's done a lot of showboating, almost like his ego is building more and more, and I wonder what that could do for him, especially heading into a World Cup year. But either way, I think he should defer to Cavani. I think that's a great point. Do I think the Premier League should suspend Rooney after he pled guilty to drinking and driving today? How many games should he be suspended? I don't know. I mean, From what I know, it was 12 minutes wages. He was fined 12 minutes wages, had his driving license taken away for 2 years. But I think he should be suspended because I think he's a guy who's a veteran, he's a legend, and he should be making a better example. And you can't tell me a guy like him, and not that it's an excuse if you don't have money to get an Uber or a taxi or wherever it is home. It's never an excuse to ever get into a car when you're driving, but that he couldn't make plans to have a driver or whatever. So it's a big karma in Argentina that strikers can't stop scoring in Europe but get cold feet playing for the national team. What's your take on it? I've played with some Argentine internationals and other high quality players that come from Argentina, and they say that it's a stressful environment in the national team because the expectation is winning a World Cup or bust, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on the players. Even the domestic league in Argentina, they say a lot of players don't want to go to because the fans are so involved and the fans are passionate and great, but that they make the atmospheres, the players can't play with kind of that creativity that they once could, and so they end up just like kind of being bruisers and hard-nosed players, and it's kind of killed the quality of the league. So I know there's a lot of pressure from the fan base. I also know that they have a guy named Messi, so is there any excuse to not win a World Cup? I guess they reached finals, but now they need to take it to the next level. So I can understand the pressure, and I can also understand why players are getting cold feet. Looks like the Shield race is pretty much over in MLS Supporters Shield race. What are my thoughts on ATL and NYC as realistic challengers? Look, if you saw Atlanta, they've broken the record. Well, they've broken a few records down in Atlanta. If they're getting home games, I don't see anybody beating them. I know they've only played a couple games at home. It seems like nobody has a chance on that pitch. New stadium, the atmosphere is crazy, the pitch is fast. So I think they're not going to win the Supporters Shield, but if they can get into playoffs and they can get any home games, I don't think any team's going to beat them there. Heath, New England is struggling. Do they need a new stadium, new ownership, and new coach to help them return to the 2000s? Look, in 2014 they made it to a final, and I know the 2000s they reached 4 other finals and lost, but maybe a new coach is the right decision. Ownership group, you just need a committed ownership group. I still think that the New England Revolution are stuck in the old era of playing in a football stadium, which works if you're Atlanta and you can put 71,000 in, or Seattle if you can put 40, 50, 60 consistently. But New England, they've never really had a huge attendance there. It's a giant stadium. They need to kind of create their own identity and kind of move to the next iteration of what the club is going to be, whether that's a rebrand or whatever. I think that starts with the stadium and a commitment and a financial commitment to bring in the right players, but also kind of rally the city and town around it, because Boston's a huge sports town, and I think there's more than enough soccer fans on any level. That doesn't mean they have to be ultras or hooligans or have some sort of crazy atmosphere, but the goal should be for them to be able to fill up their stadium regularly. And that doesn't mean it has to be a crazy atmosphere. Just, again, fill up the stadium, create a good community, create a good atmosphere, and then build on that. But whether that's the coach's problem, whether that's new ownership or whatever, I'm not really sure. I just know that the Crafts are one of the originals in the league. I think they're extremely important. Mike almost fell there if you saw the camera shake. They're extremely important, and that's, again, Pat not doing his job. But again, I think the Crafts are an extremely important part of the history of the league, and I think they'll continue to be ownerships. I just hope that they can find some sort of way to get a new stadium and kind of bring in that next generation of New England soccer or football. Are you surprised an expansion team set the new MLS record, attendance record? Can they keep it up? Would be sick if they made a deep playoff run. Again, Atlanta is doing some really, really crazy things. I'm a little bit disappointed that they're playing on turf, but it's funny how quickly you can kind of like sweep that under the rug when you have an atmosphere like that. That stadium is just rocking from start to finish, and I think it's an incredible thing for the league and for the growth. I mean, that went viral globally, and I think that's a huge thing for the league to show that there are huge fan bases in cities that have maybe new teams, but they aren't new fans. They're fans that love the game. Atlanta is a very diverse city, and it's one of the biggest in the country, so it's good to see them filling up the stadium. I hope that stays consistent, though. My biggest thing is like, okay, let's look in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Will you still have that fan base? Will it get even bigger, as opposed to kind of like flattening out? So I'm excited to see where that goes. What do I think about Philadelphia Union and their fans? I think Philadelphia Union has struggled as a club over the last years, which sucks because I think they have a very passionate fan base, a really great fan base that used to heckle me and taunt me every time I went there, which I think is great. When you're when you're playing away in a stadium, you don't want to feel uncomfortable. The fans should make you feel uncomfortable. The fans that are passionate enough can make everybody feel far from home. So I think hopefully the team or the club can reward those fans in due time with a consistent playoff team every single year, and actually hopefully someday bring their team an MLS Cup. All right, Twitter poll, time to argue again. You get one fully healthy season from Aguero or Robert Lewandowski. Who are you picking? Lewandowski. I know Aguero is at the top of the scoring charts, and with Lukaku in the Premier League, and I know we wrote him off last year, but this year he seems to be right back at it again. Him and Gabriel Jesus together is a really incredible thing, but Lewandowski scores and scores and scores and scores. He scores in the Champions League, he scores in the league, he scores in the cups, he does everything, and he does it in such a just very efficient way. So I'd rather take the Lewandowski, which is just the high highs all the time. Maybe he's not going to get you 50 goals, than kind of the riding the wave of the confident striker like Aguero is. Even though Aguero is a guy that I traded shirts with back in the day. Humble brag there. I've got his jersey at home. I just got to get it signed by him, which he probably won't do. Do I think Alexis would favor Madrid move over Man City? I mean, you very rarely see former Barcelona players go to Madrid, but of course, who wouldn't want to go to Madrid, where you dominate most of the games? Just like with Barcelona, you dominate most of the games. They play a very beautiful style. It fits within his sort of like build-up attack style of play, where you get the ball and you just go every time, go at the goal, go at the goal, go at the goal. As opposed to City, he's going to have to do a lot more two-way work in the Premier League. Out of Guardiola or Mourinho, funny you ask, who will get sacked first? I don't think Guardiola ever gets sacked, but Mourinho always gets sacked over time. But I think Mourinho seems to kind of find this good rhythm. Finally has the team that you could tell he built, so he could be there for a while. But I think they'll both walk out on their own terms at a certain point. Who are the early potential nominees for Premier League Player of the Year? Obviously Harry Kane. I think every year I'm a huge fan of his, even though I'm not a fan of Tottenham. He just scores goals. I think Lukaku as well has proven that he's already capable. I think you can't rule out a guy like Pogba even Matic, but I know that most of the time it'll go to a striker, because the Gerrards and the Lampards and stuff aren't the same as they once were in the Premier League. But yeah, my right off the top is I'm going with Harry Kane. What else? Okay, Heath, do you think Barcelona are in great form after defeating Juventus? Yes, absolutely. I think one of the blessings sometimes is that you have a team like Barcelona who kind of internally weren't having any issues, but it was all external, right? It was the media, it was the press, it was the front office and all these things, but they still had a quality team and everybody wrote them off, which I think sometimes takes the pressure off of these clubs where the stress is so high. And they've just been able to kind of go out and play with the expectations lowered a little bit, that it's going to be years before they can catch up to Real Madrid, and now they're doing well in the league and in the Champions League too. So I think again, you can never write them off, and I think they've done themselves some favors from actually taking some of the pressure off themselves. How do I see Ander Herrera in the Man United midfield? I mean, he's quality, and apparently he's about to sign a new deal, which I think is awesome, and hopefully he'll get that deal done soon. But again, they brought him in against Everton late in the game, and he was a game changer for them and helped seal that win. So a guy like that's hugely important, especially when you want to win a Premier League after a long season and also potentially a Champions League. Please stop. Oh, guys. I almost went right into it. It's time to address our haters, my favorite part of the show. Please stop making fun of certain clubs. Yes, your channel should be fun, but right now, you could name your channel Arsenal Fan TV US. We make fun of everybody. I make fun of Arsenal as much as I make fun of any other club, because this is all supposed to be fun. It's a celebration of the game. Sometimes we're serious, sometimes we're joking, but it's all in a good laugh. We actually don't have any hatred towards any. Heath, moving on. Heath looks like an old school Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale looks like an old school Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale looks like an old school Heath Pierce, in my opinion. Hashtag cut Heath's hair. No, we're not cutting my hair. LOL, fake Celtic. A bigger, better, and stronger club than Celtic, where it's horizontal green stripes since ever, and they're fake Celtic. I know that made you guys mad, but it was a stream of consciousness thought. It wasn't meant to offend, but you're right, you know? I like the challenging aspect of saying, you can't really compare Sporting to Celtic anyway, but I like the aspect of you guys calling me out for saying something quite stupid. Anyways, let's move to something positive. We'll end on a positive note. Let's all take a moment and appreciate his fluency in Portuguese. Thank you, I appreciate that. It's nice to have a compliment once in a while, guys. Look, I mean, look at all the fans we brought out here with us today. Just got my back. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, look, yeah, they're coming. They got stopped at a red light down there. But guys, anyways, that's all we have for today. I appreciate everything you guys do, even the hatred. Get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think and what you're most excited about. And until next time, see you later.